Police are raiding several stores in the Johannesburg Central Business District looking for counterfeit goods. So far, large quantities of counterfeit clothing and footwear have been confiscated.
The raid follows last week's violence in the city centre when police were forced to retreat after hawkers pelted them with stones and petrol bombs. The incident was condemned by the public and authorities. A number of shops have been closed. Well, for more on this story, we cross to our reporter Nosipho Mncube, who's been covering the story for us. Nosipho, what's happening where you are?
I must go then. We are here in Johannesburg CBD, where the raids are still continuing. The SABC, as well as the city of Johannesburg, as you may know, is conducting the raids here in different parts of CBD to try and confiscate a lot of the counterfeit goods here that are being sold in Johannesburg CBD. But to speak to me more about the raids, as well as how they went about conducting them, I have the MMC of the city of Johannesburg, that is Michael Sang. Thank you so much for speaking to us, MMC. Firstly, how did you go about conducting today's raid? You may know that a lot of people were anticipating that you'll be met with a lot of aggression as you did last week. So what did you do differently today?
Well, I think firstly I need to say this is a South African Police Services operation. Of course, we as the City of Johannesburg, JMPD, is part of the operation. It's a very complicated and highly confidential in terms of planning. So as you can see, it's a very big operation in terms where we're not dealing with only with the counterfeit goods, but also with the other criminalities. I was just about 20 minutes ago in a building in front of us on the 12th floor. You can't believe the extent of operations that they have. It's every single floor of this 12-story building. We've got storage, we've got the retailers, we've got the actual manufacturing. We've got machines to print the fake logos onto clothing, onto shoes, labels ready to be stitched. On the top floor, there's a room full of weapons. I mean, this is the kind of operation that we need to get into, and I really want to commend our law enforcement, especially to SABC and JMPD today, for having conducted a very orderly operation. We're certainly going to continue. I'm going to be here to ensure that our officers get support, and I also want to make a call out there to our residents to say we are not going to tolerate lawlessness in the city of Johannesburg. Home Affairs is here to deal with the illegal foreign nationals. So this is a joint operation where we're going to see law and order being restored on the street of Joburg.
And speaking of Home Affairs being here, joining you on this operation, what is the process there? Verification process, how do they go about conducting that?
No, absolutely. Of course, our colleagues from Home Affairs will do that from immigration. They need to conduct the verification of residential status, immigration papers, passports, identification documents. But we'll leave it to them. This is not just, I think, a very narrow operation, but we really need to ensure that we deal with every single criminality that's out there on the streets.
And so far, do you have any ideas as to the value of the goods that you've confiscated is, or anything of that sort?
I don't have the exact number, but I can assure you it's going to be over millions. I mean, I picked up one cash sales book in one of the storerooms where there were counterfeit goods. And if I went page through the pages in this book, there were sales amounting to tens of thousands just in one day. So you can imagine the value of the goods that's being taken away, and all these illegal goods will be seized and accounted for. And I'm sure our National Prosecuting Authority will follow up on these leads when they prosecute.
MMC, it goes without saying that there's quite a lot of work cut out for you here. The raids are still continuing, and you're still going into these shops and trying to confiscate all these goods. How long do you anticipate that this will go on for, or how long are you willing to continue with these raids?
Certainly this operation will continue until we are finished. It's not going to be a once-off. We'll continue for as long as we need to, and as many times as we need to ensure that we get rid of these criminalities off on the street. It's really unacceptable that we have this kind of volume and the extent and the magnitude of manufacturing of counterfeit goods in the center of Joburg. We are going to get rid of them. I can assure you this is not going to be the last one. We'll continue with the operation, and we certainly want to ask the residents and the traders to assist us to put this to an end.
Thank you very much, MMC. That was MMC Michael Son from the city of Johannesburg just speaking to us about today's operation. As you can see behind me, that the operation is still continuing and that the police rather, are still trying to break into most of the shops here to try and confiscate many of the goods that are being sold illegally here, as well as make some arrests of those who are selling these goods. But we'll be continuing monitoring the situation here on the ground. For now, it's back to you in studio.